Then one night, Chloe collapsed in the hallway on her way to the bathroom. Chloe Williams was the kind of girl everyone admired. She came from a family that had everything: wealth, power, and class. Her father, Mr. John Williams, was the CEO of a major company that dealt in oil and gas. Her mother, Mrs. Clara Williams, owned one of the biggest law firms in the city. They lived in a beautiful mansion in the highbrow area of town, where the streets were quiet, the lawns were always green, and the neighbors greeted each other with smiles. From the day Chloe was born, her parents treated her like a precious jewel. She had her own room filled with toys, books, a personal television, and even a mini library. Every birthday, she had grand parties with beautiful cakes, music, clowns, and friends from the best families in town. She went to the best primary school where she always came top in class. Chloe was not only brilliant but well-behaved. Her parents trained her with love and discipline. They taught her to pray, to be respectful, and to work hard for what she wanted. Chloe's dream was clear from the start: she wanted to become a doctor. "I want to wear a white coat and help people feel better," she would always say with a proud smile. Her mother would pat her head and say, "And you will, my dear. You will make us proud." After her common entrance exams, Chloe passed with flying colors. She was offered admission into the most prestigious all-girls boarding school in the state, Cedar Grove Girls College. The school was known for strict discipline, excellent academics, and top-notch facilities. Chloe was excited and a little scared. It was the first time she would be away from home. "Be a good girl," her father said on the day they dropped her off at school. "Focus on your studies and remember who you are." "I will, Daddy," Chloe replied. Her room was clean, her bed neatly laid. She met her roommates, and they all seemed nice. The school environment was calm and beautiful. Tall buildings, green fields, clean dormitories, and friendly teachers. It felt like a dream. In her first year, Chloe stood out. She always submitted her homework on time, answered questions in class, and scored high in all her subjects. Teachers praised her, and even seniors respected her. She joined the science club and the press club, where she wrote stories about health and medicine. She was focused. Her dream of becoming a doctor felt closer than ever. Everything went smoothly until Chloe entered senior secondary school 1, SS1. That was the year everything started changing. She was no longer a little girl. Her body had changed, her thoughts had changed, and the people around her had changed too. In SS1, new students were admitted from other schools. Some of them came with different attitudes and strange behaviors. Among them were 3 girls, Vanessa, Tasha, and Brenda. They were beautiful, bold, and full of energy. They always wore shiny lip gloss, sneaked in fancy phones, and had secret food packages from home. They acted like celebrities and treated the school rules like jokes. At first, Chloe was just an observer. She watched them from a distance and even found some of their behaviors amusing. But slowly, she started spending time with them. It started with small conversations during lunch breaks. Then it moved to sharing snacks, doing homework together, and laughing at jokes. "Chloe, you're too serious," Vanessa once said. "Loosen up. Life is not that hard." Tasha added, "You're pretty. You should enjoy your life before medical books start stressing you." Brenda, the sharpest of them all, was the one who introduced Chloe to the idea of fun. "Let's sneak out to town on visiting day. Just once. You'll love it." Chloe hesitated. She thought of her parents. She thought of her dream. But curiosity was stronger. The first time they sneaked out, they went to a restaurant in town. They dressed in casual clothes and used a fake permission slip to deceive the gatekeeper. They laughed, took selfies, ate chicken and chips, and returned before evening. It felt fun. It felt different. Soon, sneaking out became a habit. They started visiting clubs, especially on weekends when school activities were light. They met boys who wore flashy clothes and used expensive perfumes. One of them stood out. His name was Desmond. Desmond was a young Yohu boy. He had money, charm, and dangerous eyes. He drove a black car and was always surrounded by girls. He noticed Chloe at a club and started talking to her. He bought her drinks, complimented her beauty, and promised her the world. "You deserve more than boring school books," he whispered. "Let me show you real life." Chloe felt special. No one had spoken to her like that before. She started keeping secrets. She lied to her teachers, avoided her old friends, and spent more time with Desmond. Her grades began to drop. Teachers noticed. They called her aside and warned her, but she just smiled and said she was fine. Her heart was already far from school. She was in love, or so she thought. Chloe began living a double life. By day, she was the quiet, once brilliant student who now sat at the back of the class, barely answering questions. By night, or whenever she could sneak out, she became someone else. The life Desmond showed her was full of glamour. He gave her new clothes, shoes, and even a smartphone. He took her out to expensive restaurants, clubs, and private lounges. Chloe began to enjoy this lifestyle more than her school life. What she didn't realize was that Desmond wasn't giving her all those things for free. He was slowly drawing her into his world. The dark world of fraud, lies, and manipulation. He began asking her to send pictures. Then, he asked her to invite her friends. "My guys like fresh girls," he said, "and they're ready to pay well." Chloe was confused but curious. The money was tempting. She started helping him bring other girls to secret hotel meetings. Some of them didn't return the same, they came back looking broken, tired, or sick. But no one talked about it. Everything was silent. One day, Desmond took her to a private party. There were older men there, businessmen, politicians, and fraudsters. Chloe was nervous, but Desmond told her to relax. That night changed something in her. She drank alcohol for the first time. She was touched by men she didn't know. She woke up with a headache and couldn't even remember the full night. When she asked Desmond what happened, he simply smiled and said, "You had fun. Don't worry." From that day, Chloe stopped caring. She stopped attending morning assembly. She skipped tests. She lied to her teachers. One of the teachers, Miss Diana, noticed her changed, but instead of correcting her, she became part of the problem. Miss Diana was young, attractive, and secretive. She always wore makeup and had fancy hairstyles, unlike most teachers. What no one knew was that she had her own secret life outside the school. She was connected to some of the rich men that Desmond and his gang worked for. She used her position as a teacher to protect girls like Chloe who were being used and paid. One evening, Miss Diana called Chloe aside after prep. "You're smart," she said. "But smart girls don't waste their beauty. I know what you've been doing with Desmond. It's okay. I won't report you. In fact, I can help you." Chloe was scared, but Miss Diana's voice was calm and inviting. "There are men who will pay well," she continued. "And they are clean. I'll protect you." That was how Chloe got deeper into the mess. She was introduced to more men. They gave her gifts, money, and even took her out of town on weekends. She started skipping school entirely, faking sickness or traveling under false names. Her roommates were too afraid to report her. Some of them joined her. Others simply stayed quiet. But the body has limits. Soon, Chloe began to feel unwell. At first, it was just headaches and dizziness. Then came the vomiting. She grew weak and pale. Her beautiful skin lost its glow. She tried to hide it, but her body kept failing. During classes, she would fall asleep. During prep, she would complain of stomach pain. No one knew exactly what was wrong with her, except maybe Miss Diana. Instead of reporting Chloe's condition to the school clinic, Miss Diana made a call. That same night, a strange woman came to the school. She was dressed like a nurse but didn't wear any name tag. Miss Diana smuggled her into the dormitory and led her to Chloe's bed. The woman gave Chloe some injections and pills. "This will make you feel better," she said. But Chloe didn't get better. The pills the strange nurse gave Chloe made her sleep deeply. But when she woke up the next morning, her body felt worse. Her joints ached, her head throbbed, and she could barely sit up on her bed. Her roommate stared at her with worry, but no one dared to speak. Miss Diana visited early that morning. "You'll be fine," she whispered, placing a cold bottle of water by Chloe's bed. "Just rest. Don't go to the clinic. Don't talk to anyone." "But I feel strange," Chloe muttered weakly. "It's nothing. Maybe the injection is just reacting a bit. You'll feel better soon." But Chloe didn't feel better. Within 3 days, she couldn't walk properly. Her feet were swollen. Her eyes looked sunken. Her once glowing skin had turned pale and dry. And then, the blood started. She began bleeding, tiny streaks at first. From her nose. From her gums. Even during her period, the blood wouldn't stop. She cried silently, afraid and ashamed. She tried calling Desmond, but he stopped picking up her calls. Miss Diana now avoided her too. Her gang of friends, Vanessa, Tasha, and Brenda, began to keep their distance. They whispered when they passed her. Some of them even changed dorm rooms. Chloe was alone. Then one night, Chloe collapsed in the hallway on her way to the bathroom. Her scream woke the whole dorm. Seniors rushed to carry her. A prefect called the matron. It was too big to hide anymore. The principal, Mrs. Evelyn Marsh, arrived before morning. She was a firm, no-nonsense woman who believed in order. When she saw Chloe's condition, her face changed. "Who has been treating her?" she asked. Silence. "Why wasn't the school clinic informed?" Silence again. The principal raised her voice. "Answer me. Who brought a nurse here without permission?" It was one of the juniors who finally spoke up. "Miss Diana, Ma. She brought the nurse." Everything changed from that moment. Miss Diana was summoned. At first, she denied everything. But when the principal threatened police involvement, she confessed. She explained how she had been helping certain girls meet men for money. She named Desmond and others. She said she never meant for Chloe to fall so sick. She cried, but no one felt pity. The damage was already done. The school called Chloe's parents. When Mr. and Mrs. Williams arrived and saw their only daughter lying weak on a hospital bed in the school clinic, they broke down in tears. "What happened to our child?" her mother screamed. Chloe was too weak to speak. Her voice had become faint. Her lips were cracked. Her eyes, once full of dreams, were dim. Her father held her hand. "We'll take you home, sweetheart. We'll fix this." They took her to the best hospital in the city. Doctors ran tests. They found infections. Multiple. Some organs had already begun to fail. She was placed on strong medication, fluids, and oxygen. A specialist was flown in from another state. Her parents stayed by her side day and night. They prayed. They cried. They blamed themselves. "We should have watched her more closely. We trusted the school too much." She wanted to be a doctor. Every day, her condition changed. Some days she smiled weakly. Some days she slept all through. And some nights, she screamed from pain in her stomach and chest. But she never told her parents the full truth. She never told them how many men had touched her. She never told them about Desmond, about the clubs, about the nurse with no name. She only said, "I made a mistake." The Williams home was no longer a happy house. Since Chloe was brought back from school, everything changed. The living room was quiet. The kitchen barely smelled of food. Her mother hardly smiled anymore. Her father, once strong and full of energy, looked older and tired. Chloe was admitted to a private hospital. Her room was white and cold, with machines around her bed and an oxygen tube in her nose. She had grown thinner. Her cheeks had sunk. Her eyes were hollow. But the saddest thing was her silence. She barely spoke. Her mother sat beside her day and night, holding her hand, praying with her, whispering soft words like, "You'll be okay, my child, and you're strong, you'll make it." But Chloe just blinked. Sometimes she tried to speak, but her voice came out dry and cracked. The doctors were worried. "She's fighting," the lead doctor said. "But her organs are weak. The infection has spread." "Infection?" her father asked. "How?" The doctor shook his head. "We can't say for sure. It could have come from anything, contaminated needles, poor hygiene, or even sexual contact." That last part hit Mr. Williams like a bullet. His knees gave way slightly, and he held onto the doorframe. "But she's a child," he said, his voice shaking. "She was in school." "I understand, sir," the doctor replied gently. "But we need to be realistic. Her body is shutting down. We've sent samples for further tests, but I must be honest. She's in a very critical condition." Back at the school, the investigation had begun. Miss Diana was suspended immediately. The principal invited the school board, and together, they started calling in students for questioning. Names were mentioned. Desmond's name came up repeatedly. Other girls were identified as part of the secret group. Vanessa, Tasha, Brenda. When news reached Chloe's former classmates that she was in the hospital and barely breathing, panic broke out. Some girls confessed everything. Others cried and begged the school not to tell their parents. But the damage had been done. The school's reputation was shattered. Parents started withdrawing their daughters. The PTA held an emergency meeting. The press heard rumors. News headlines began carrying stories like, "Elite girls' school under fire for secret scandal." "Student battling for life after teacher involves her in prostitution ring." But Chloe didn't know any of this. She lay still in her hospital bed, her lips moving slowly in prayer, or perhaps just mumbling memories. Her dream of becoming a doctor now felt like a different life. Sometimes, she dreamed she was in her lab coat, smiling, carrying a stethoscope, helping children in a hospital ward. But she would always wake up to wires and beeping machines. One rainy afternoon, Chloe whispered something to her mother. Mrs. Clara leaned closer. "What did you say, sweetheart?" "I'm sorry, Mom," Chloe said slowly. "I messed up." Tears rolled down Clara's cheeks. "No, my baby. You were just lost. But you're still here. And we love you." "I wanted to save lives," Chloe said faintly. "You still can. You'll be okay. You go to school again. We'll start over." Chloe tried to smile. But she looked tired. Her hands had grown thin and cold. Later that night, her father held a small Bible and read Psalms beside her bed. The nurses changed her drip. Her mother kissed her forehead and held her hand through the night. And then, around 3 a.m., Chloe sighed deeply, as if letting go of a heavy burden. She closed her eyes slowly. And never opened them again. The morning Chloe died, the sky was gray. The hospital called Mr. and Mrs. Williams just before dawn. The doctor spoke gently, but the words still shattered everything. "I'm so sorry. She's gone." Mrs. Williams dropped the phone. Her knees hit the cold floor of the hospital hallway. She wailed, a deep, painful sound that echoed through the silent corridors. Mr. Williams stood frozen. His eyes widened, his lips moved, but no words came out. His whole body shook as he collapsed into the nearest chair. Nurses stood in silence. Doctors bowed their heads. The sun had not yet risen, but for the Williams family, the day was already dark. They built dreams shattered within a twinkle of an eye.